Good evening, everybody. My name is Bobby Haas, and my colleague Victoria Yepes Taylor is also here with me. She's going to be handling the chat. And on behalf of Richmond American University, London, we'd like to welcome you to the Why London webinar. This is kind of my love letter to London, as Victoria calls it. Victoria and I were actually both at Richmond as undergraduate students together. I won't tell you how long ago. But I am from New York, and this is where I am now. Victoria is from Florida, that's where she is. And we are 2/3 of the US admissions team. Our manager, Brian, is in Boston and also handles applicants on the West Coast. So you might have been speaking with him as well if you're on the West Coast. But tonight we're going to be talking about, you might have caught some of our other fantastic webinars done by Victoria about the visa process or about the finances involved in studying abroad in London, specifically at Richmond. But tonight is going to be a little bit more fun. Sorry, Victoria. Tonight is a lot less numbers, and it's more about the experience of being in London as a study abroad student. And when I say study abroad, I don't mean as a semester student. I mean studying in another country full time, because that's what we did. I love London. I had a great time there. I always refer to it as a gateway to the rest of the world, because that's certainly what it was for me. And tonight, hopefully, I'll be able to explain that to you a little bit more. If you have any questions, shoot them in the chat. And if they're simple, Victoria will get to them. You can put them in the Q&A function as well, if that's easier for you. If they're a question that we think would be good for everybody to hear the answer to, then maybe we'll just address it at the end. So go ahead, anything that pops up, shoot it in there, and then we'll take it. But let's go ahead and get started. So, why London? Tonight we're going to be talking about the London you already know, the London you don't know yet, but you will. We're going to be thinking about London and the experience that it has for the student life and what it's like through the student's eyes, and how at Richmond we engage with our classmates. We're going to talk about becoming a local and how to travel within London and also beyond. So let's get started. First thing to think about is Student City. QS is an organization that does a lot of statistics and surveys about higher education around the world. And for the last few years, London has ranked #1 student city in the world. And take it from me, it certainly is. So the criteria for this judgment is university rankings, which is how many highly ranked universities are in that city. Student mix is about diversity. Desirability is things like green space, safety, cleanliness of the city, things like that. Employer activity is obviously about the market and people going and getting jobs. Affordability is self-explanatory. And student voice, which is what students have to say about their experience there themselves. So all those things considered, London, #1 student city in the world. And when you're a student in London, you're in good company. There are 40 higher education institutions in the London area, 400,000 students running around London being students together, and over a quarter of them are international. So, when you go to another country and study abroad, you might feel like a fish out of water. But the thing is, in London, everybody's a fish out of water together, exploring a new pond. So this is the London you probably already know. Got the famous phone booths, the guards at Buckingham Palace that don't move even if a tornado lands on top of them. The London Eye, Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament. This is the postcard pop culture London that we know from the films and movies and shows and all that good stuff. But as you can see on this map, that little circle right in the middle, that's the London Eye. And as you can see all around it, there's a lot more going on. There's a lot that London has to offer to the student experience, and we're going to explore some of that today. And you see the river, the Thames, spelt Thames. Don't ever let anyone hear you say that out loud. It's the Thames. I made that mistake my freshman year, and I'll never do it again. It winds through the city, and we, as you can see here in Chiswick Park, on the west side of the river, we're in West London. You see London Eye off center to the right, and Chiswick Park, where our campus is, a little bit to the left, to the west. So Chiswick is a beautiful residential neighborhood in West London. but it's still, 15, 20 minutes on the tube, and you're right smack in the middle of everything. So I like to think of it as the best of both worlds. And getting around London from Chiswick is very convenient. So there are lots of different stations you can walk to, easy walk from campus to different lines that can get you all over the city. You're also a short drive from Heathrow, from the airport in West London. 30 minutes on the tube, and it puts you at St. Pancras International Station, which we'll discuss in a little bit. Trust me, a very important station for you to know about. Airports, the highway, the ring around London, it's all very accessible. It's easy to get around London and beyond from where we are. Just a brief video here about our brand new campus that Victoria and I actually got to go over to London last year for the grand opening of, and it really was fantastic. So I'm gonna just show you a little bit about it now. Let me just share a different video so you can see it better. It's a great campus. Like I said, West London, we're part of a larger business park. And it really is it's like night and day compared to the old campus. Everything is fresh and ready for the future. So let's show you what I
I'm Dr. Phil Deans, President and Vice-Chancellor of Richmond American University, London. We're absolutely delighted with our new location here on Chiswick Park. It offers the perfect location for a progressive university delivering international and applied liberal arts in the heart of one of the world's most diverse and vibrant cities. All our students are graduating with degrees registered in the US and the UK. We welcome you to come and visit us at any time.
We wanted to design a space that simply didn't meet the initial brief from the university, but exceeded their expectations. During the design stage, we wanted to ensure the campus was completely future-proofed and able to cater to each student's and faculty's requirements from all backgrounds. We are particularly proud of the key additions, such as the bespoke quiet workplaces in the library area, the ad hoc working zones, and the collaborative dining space, where students can be informed of events at the university and all the outdoor activities that the campus offers.
Hi guys, I'm Andrew. I'm a communications, marketing, and PR major. I really appreciated how the university kind of prepared me for the business environment by kind of forcing me to get a hold of my deadlines and be ahead of my projects and stuff like that, and then also working in very culturally diverse teams. There's a lot of international students here and a lot of international type of communications going on here.
Hello, my name is Shelly. I am majoring in entrepreneurship, and I think that Richmond has helped me a lot by giving me a diverse environment in order for me to make many connections throughout the world, and I think that's very helpful for my future career as an entrepreneur.
Let me just get back to the presentation. It really was a great campus. We were all very impressed with the new setup. It was You know, the old space was that, dare I say, old, and so I'm very excited. I'm actually a little jealous of the people that get to go study there now. I'll speak a little bit more about some of our neighbors because, like I said, we're actually part of a larger business park. We're one of 12 buildings, and the other buildings are all international headquarters for massive companies like Paramount Pictures and Starbucks and Singapore Airlines. There's a couple media channels there, so there's a lot going on, a lot to tap into as a student. But we'll come back to that in a moment. So let's talk about London. So north, south, east, west, and central. Central kind of gets pulled in either direction, west and east, um, depending on who you are, or what neighborhood you're in. It's kind of up for grabs, but we're going to start in West London because that's our home. That's where we are. So West London is kind of what you would picture as the typical postcard London with the museums and the theater district and the palace and things like that. It's also very well known for its shopping depending on what budget you're in. Harrods, world famous, Oxford Street is a great place to go for a stroll and do some shopping right through central West London. Again, that's where it's up for debate. Portobello Market, there are a lot of markets all around the city. A lot of great little neighborhoods and with their own culture, and there's a lot to explore. Green space is a theme that you're going to be seeing throughout this presentation and also through your time at London because green space is a really important part of London. Hyde Park is a beautiful, beautiful park in West London, in Kensington, and actually I've spent a lot of time there. Great place to be, especially in the spring. Serpentine Gallery is right in the middle of Hyde Park, so it's a great place to go for a little bike ride or a picnic, go for a walk, feed the swans. A couple neighborhoods to note. Chiswick, that's our home. Chiswick, not Chiswick. Again, don't let them hear you say it out loud. Kensington, Notting Hill, Westminster, which is where Buckingham Palace is, and the world famous Soho, which is the theater district, and we'll get into that in a second as well. But starting at home in Chiswick, this is Chiswick High Road, which is this is actually the main street that goes right through the neighborhood, and our campus is right on Chiswick High Road. So this is the old cinema, which is an old movie theater. It's about 3 blocks away from campus. Chiswick is cool because it's, like I said, it's very residential. So it has this low feeling. There's no skyscrapers or anything like that. It's a little bit greener. It's a little bit more calm. You get a little bit more elbow room. There's a lot of little like bookshops and kind of boutiques and old cinema is a good one. A lot of good pubs, a lot of good places to eat. It's a nice kind of more of a village neighborhood vibe, but again, 15 minutes and you're right smack in the middle. And when you think of West London, this is usually what people think of: the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum in the top left, Natural History Museum if you're into dinosaurs like me, even though I was an art major, bottom left. The National Gallery, also in West London on the right. These massive classical columns, and that's what people think of when they think of London, and that's West London for sure. But that's not all of West London. I was talking about Portobello Market. That's in a neighborhood called Notting Hill, which is not far from those big palaces, if you will. And it's a very different feel, very different architecture, very different neighborhood, very different culture. Notting Hill is the home of the Notting Hill Carnival, which is the West Indian Carnival Parade at the last weekend of the summer every year. And actually, it's the biggest street festival in Europe when it happens. Definitely worth maybe going back. If you end up in London, you might want to go back to London a week or 2 before classes start so you can go to Carnival. It is definitely worth it. Soho, as you can see, I picked Soho as my imaginary background because I spent a lot of good time there. Carnaby Street is a nice area right in Soho. There's a lot of shopping, boutiques, a lot of restaurants. It's right next to, kind of mixed in with the theater district. So if you're into theater, it's one of the best theater districts in the world. That's coming from a New Yorker who has Broadway, you know, at my fingertips. It's also where Chinatown is, top right. So it's actually the reason I would go there. I would go there for Chinatown, a lot of good festivals and good Chinese food and just a lot of culture, a lot happening, bright lights. So it's always exciting. Good place to be. East London is kind of like the opposite of West London. If West London is oil paintings and columns and big golden frames around paintings of kings, then East London is going to be more graffiti, street art, murals, weird avant-garde warehouse style galleries with all types of weird art. I spent a lot of time over there as an art major. A great place for, shopping, getting food, and seeing art culture in general. It's Shoreditch, if you want to look at this neighborhood, Shoreditch is one of the most popular neighborhoods in London. It's kind of like ground zero for the hipsters, if you will. There's no shame. I spent a lot of time there as well. There's a lot going on, a lot of events, a lot of clubs, a lot of bars, a lot of markets. I spent a lot of time going to markets, whether it's markets for food or markets for vintage. They're all over the city, but East London and Shoreditch, Hackney area definitely has a lot of that. Uh, but I'll tell you a little bit about Shoreditch in a second. Um, Victoria Park or Vicky Park, depending on who you ask, is another big park in East London, and there's always a lot going on there. Great place to be in the spring and the summer. A lot of festivals happen all through the summer, big music festivals. It's a good place to be. Um, Box Park is a fun place, and I'll show you an example of that. So this is Shoreditch. Box Park in the bottom right is kind of like an outdoor shopping mall slash event space slash food hall slash beer garden kind of situation. Made out of obviously shipping containers. And they have big brands there like Timberland and Nike that will have a little kind of satellite store. But they also say they reserve some of the stores for startup brands so that they can have access to the market. And it actually is a really cool place to be. There's always something going on. And Box Park actually has done so well that they started replicating that model in other places in South London, in Northwest London, and actually I think they just opened the same company, the same organization opened one in France and possibly Germany as well. So it is definitely spreading. But as you can see, this is what East London, particularly Shoreditch, looks like. Massive street art, murals. Street artists, graffiti artists come from all over the world to paint in East London. So it's a gallery in its own right, just walking down the street. Brick Lane is one specific area in Shoreditch, next to Shoreditch, also up for debate. If you like curry, if you like Bangladeshi food, if you like Indian food, this is definitely a place to stop by and grab a bite because it is well known all over the city. Spitalfields Market in the top left is a market just off Brick Lane. It's indoors and it runs all year round. Again, good place for food, good place for shopping, a lot of vintage, but also a lot of small brands and makers, a lot of artisans, people who kind of upcycle fabrics and other vintage garments into their own thing. So I think it was Napoleon who said England was a nation of shopkeepers, and you'll realize markets are a big part of the British culture, not just in London, but all over the UK, in a way that I actually really miss. It's something that's really charming, and we don't really do that as much in the States. North London, I'm also biased towards. I lived in West London for a long time. I lived in London for 7 years, by the way. I did my 4 years at Richmond, and I fell in love with London. Did everything I could to not come back. So the last 2 years I was in Camden Town, which is a neighborhood in North London, specifically Northwest London. It's great. It's known for its live music, a lot of bars, a lot of pubs. It's definitely a mix of people from all over, not the world, but all over life, So in Camden, as we'll see in the next slide, it's really everybody from everywhere ends up in Camden, and there's a lot to experience. Regent's Park and Hampstead Heath are two really, really big, famous parks in North London. Regent's Park is it's in the kind of on the border of central London and North London. It's beautiful, beautiful park. Hampstead Heath is a little bit more wild and it's a little bit further up. A few neighborhoods to note, obviously Camden Town, King's Cross, we're going to get to in a second. Hampstead, which is up by Hampstead Heath, and actually one of the housing options that some of our students go to is up in West Hampstead, near Hampstead. Primrose Hill is a lovely neighborhood. I wish I could afford it. Hampstead is like where Hampstead and Primrose Hill, there's a lot of celebrities that have houses up there. If you like Harry Styles, I think he has a house up there. This is Camden. So Camden Market, it was an old horse stable and has since been turned into a market. So a lot of vintage, a lot of artisans, again, a lot of food. One of my favorite places to go and kind of hang out and just get lost and wander around. There's always something weird going on. And the bottom left is a statue of Amy Winehouse because she is from Camden. We like to think of her as the patron saint of Camden Town, and this is her memorial. So if you're an Amy Winehouse fan, make sure you go bring some flowers and take a picture with her. So we're saying King's Cross Station, very important station. And I was saying at the beginning, St. Pancras International Station, they're actually connected. So King's Cross Station is right next to Camden, and lots of different tube lines run through it. So it's a great hub to get all over the city, but it's also where a lot of the overground and national rail trains are that take you up further into the country. Up, if you want to jump on a train and go up to Scotland, or out to Wales for the weekend, that's where you're going to catch the train. It's also the home of the Eurostar, which is the train that takes you to Paris, Brussels, and Amsterdam. So from Chiswick, you can jump on the tube, get to King's Cross Station, transfer to another train, and 2.5, 3 hours later, your doors open and parlez-vous français, you know? So it's accessibility is one of my favorite things about London, and you can do a lot by a train. And yes, this is where platform 9 3/4 is also located. So if you're trying to transfer from Richmond into Hogwarts, that's where you will be doing it. So don't forget your owl. South London is very popular, especially these days. Again, a lot of live music, a lot of venues. Brixton Market is a very famous market. West Indian, African as well, but definitely more West Indian. That's an area where one of the interesting things about London is kind of exploring where different cultures landed when they came to London, different immigrant groups, and where those cultures came and made their home and mixed with London. And it really is a melting pot of cultures. London is one of my favorite things about it. More green space, again, very important. Battersea Park, Greenwich Park, Kew Gardens, all beautiful. Kew Gardens is lovely. It's a botanical gardens. One of my favorite places in the world. Brixton, if anybody says South London, if you ask anybody in London about South London, the first place they're going to say is Brixton. We'll get to that in a second. South Bank, very famous. Greenwich, Southeast London, also beautiful. So this is Brixton. Brixton Market on the top left. Top right is Brixton Splash, which is kind of South London's answer to Notting Hill Carnival. Also a good time. Again, London is, especially in the summer, there are festivals and street fairs and concerts and things all over the place. So there's a lot to enjoy. And bottom right is Pop Brixton, which is kind of like Box Park, but in South London. Great place to hang out and meet other people. So South Bank, as you saw, the Thames kind of snakes through London from east to west. Anything south of it is South London, but right in the middle, it kind of goes up, and so it kind of feels like central London, but because it's south, literally on the south bank of the Thames, it is technically South London. South Bank is home to the Tate Modern, which is that big building on the left, the Hayward Gallery at the South Bank Center on the right, these big brutalist, you know, industrial style, very different from the columns of West London. very important in the arts and culture world. If you're a film fan and you're into cinema, the BFI, the British Film Institute, is located there as well. That's where they do the London Film Festival. If you whether you like skateboarding or just like seeing people try not to fall down, there's a world famous skate park right there on the river, bottom left. And it's a great place to go for a walk along the water, grab a bite, and watch people trying to get hurt as they jump down some stairs. One of the things about London that I love are is the abundance of events and happenings and groups and things to join. And as you can see, some of my favorite uh, spaces here, Coco in the top left is in Camden, as well as the Roundhouse in the bottom left. But it's not just music. The bottom right is actually Alexandra Palace, Ali Pali in North London. And that's actually a massive yoga class. So something the British love doing, they just love events. It's not just about music, but there's whatever it is that you're into, there are people in London doing it, waiting for you to join them. So definitely explore, 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 explore. But London is not all arts and music, even though that was very much my experience. London is one of the most important business centers of the world. The top left is Canary Wharf. That is the business district of London. That's where the London Stock Exchange is, just over the water. It's where the skyscrapers are. That is the city of London. And the bottom right, as you can see, that's one of Google's headquarters. I think they have two now in London. But a lot of these big tech companies have built brand new headquarters in London because they understand that London is one of the centers of the world, and people come from all over the world to come here and to join, to get involved. And as I was saying before about our neighbors, so on Chiswick Park, 12 buildings, we're one of them. The top right is a list of some of our neighbors. Virgin Active has their headquarters kind of across the pond from us on our campus. And yes, Pokemon. I didn't know that they had a headquarters. I guess, stupid me. Yes, they do. Pokemon's European headquarters is, I think it's 2 doors down from us. So if you see Pikachu running around, you know what's going on. Sports. If you're into sports, London is a fantastic sports city. Obviously, soccer or football, as I've now learned to call it. You will too, trust me. You have Arsenal on the top left at Emirates Stadium, Chelsea FC on the top right. Cricket is a game that obviously I never, as an American, really had a lot of exposure to, but definitely have grown to appreciate in a way that I was not expecting. And that's Lord's Cricket Ground in the middle right over by Regent's Park, actually. It's world famous. And it's not just football and cricket. Yes, in the bottom right, if you look closely, that's Quidditch, and they seem to be taking it very seriously because it's a very serious sport. Understandably, it's dangerous. You got to be careful when you're on a broomstick. But that also goes back to green space. Whether you're playing sports in the park, whether it's a league, whether you just a pickup game with some friends, or whether you just want to go for a stroll, walk a dog, go for ride your bicycle, things like that. There's an abundance of green space. I think it's like 18%. I'll double check that. I think it's about 18% of the city is green space. That's really good, especially compared to New York, which is a massive city, but nowhere near that. There's something for everybody. And as I was saying, Regent's Park, top left, is a bit more manicured. These kind of regal gardens, beautiful flowers, the fountains. The bottom right is Hampstead Heath, as I said, which is a little bit more wild, a little bit more natural, good place to go kind of explore. And if the weather's right, you can jump in that lake, and people certainly do. I haven't, but still time. Hampstead Heath also gives you that beautiful view in the top right of the city of London. So wherever you are in London, you're a short walk away from some green space. And the more we find out, the more we study mental health and well-being and things like that, we know that the connection with green space plays a vital role in our mentality and how we feel and our life state. So it is not to be underestimated how important having access to that green space is. I've told you a little bit about some of my favorite places in London, but maybe we should hear from a few of our current students. So let me play a short video for you from some of our current students about some places that they love.
Hey everyone, I'm Bonnie and I study marketing at Richmond American University, London. Today I'm going to be heading off to one of my favorite places in London, which is the O2 Arena Shopping Centre in Greenwich. Anyways, here I am at the O2 Shopping Centre in Greenwich. The first time I came here, I was actually really surprised about how much there is to do. Other than attending concerts, you can also go to the cinema, you can go bowling, you can go mini golfing, and you can also go indoor skydiving. So yeah, it's just a super fun place to hang out on the weekends with your friends.
One really cool place in London that I love to go to is called Camden Market. Camden Market is filled with dozens of shops with just about anything you could think of. There's a record store, a juggling shop, and several novelty fashion stores where you could buy the outfit for any click, no matter how niche. There's also a fantastic variety of food, and Camden is known to have the best quality of food in the city, so no matter what you get, you know it's going to be good. Camden is also just an inviting place, with numerous buskers on every corner, and shop owners who are always happy to help you out. Overall, Camden is a great place to take a friend and explore, because it's impossible to find everything there is in just one visit.
I'm Bonnie. I study marketing at Richmond American University in London. Right now, I'm in one of my favorite parts of London, Leicester Square. Right near it is Chinatown. I love going to Chinatown and trying a lot of new food. As well, there's tons of theaters in the area, and they give admission discounts to students and people who book tickets on the day of the show.
If anyone is coming from a bit more of a rural background, don't worry. You can still find lots of nature in London. As a southerner, I get it. And London has several parks, including Hampstead Heath, which is right by IQ in West Hampstead, and Richmond Park, which is the largest urban park in Europe.
Alright guys, welcome to a new video. My name's Luca Ferron and I go to Richmond University to study computer science. Now I want to tell you something, that this is a great place to come to in your free time when you are not at uni. It's called Gravity, and it's a go-karting track where you can basically go go-karting for very cheap. It's in Wandsworth Southside Mall. Prices are as cheap as £16 per person. In fact, they are that price right now. So if you want to come here with your friends. I've been here twice. It's so much fun. And it's only 40 minutes away from the uni. Yeah. I hope you guys have a great day. And I just wanted to give you some advice of where to come to when you're free. Peace out.
One of the things that we love about Richmond is accents are all over the place. You know, it really is we're a very international family, and we definitely, you'll hear combinations of accents, and it's always tough to guess, but everybody kind of has a story about where they're from and how they ended up at Richmond. So you're in good company, and the best part is learning from your fellow classmates about life through the lens of their culture, and you share yours. You know, it's an exchange. So it's one of my favorite things about London. Just make sure I'm sharing the right. Yep, cool.
Everyone, one of my favorite places.
So one of the one of the videos, he was talking about Hampstead Heath and IQ Hayward House. This is one of the housing options, but just to give you an idea of what housing's like, most schools in London don't have their own dorms. They use third-party housing providers. So they'll look kind of something like this, but they're private dorms essentially. And we will be having a new partner next year, kind of to reserve a bulk of rooms for our students. But our students kind of go everywhere, just like students all over London go everywhere. So if you have any questions about housing options, you go into our accommodation page on our website. There's a long list of different housing providers. They all have different price points and amenities, and you can kind of explore a little bit. And if you have any questions about different areas or neighborhoods, definitely reach out to us, either myself or Victoria. We're always happy to jump on a call or point you in the right direction based on the things that you want to be around. I'll be able to recommend different areas, but this is kind of the vibe. And yeah, it's cool because you'll be around Richmond students sometimes, but you'll also be around students from all over the city. So it's a great way to branch out and make friends outside of class. So I showed you all these great things in London, right? Now you're thinking, wow, it's a big city. There's a lot going on. How am I going to get around it? And the answer is you've got options. The bottom right image, the Oyster card, that is your key to the city. That's going to get you on the buses, on the tubes, on the DLR, as you see over here, the Overground. Any of the trains, you're going to tap in with that. The tube, obviously the underground, the subway, is phenomenal. It's really well organized and clean, especially compared to the subway I grew up on. It's disgusting. Anybody who's ever visited New York knows that. London, it really is. It's safe, it's clean, it's well looked after, and it gets you where you need to be. So it's very convenient. The buses, I will have to admit, as a freshman, I showed up and I thought those double-decker buses were just for tourists. I did not know that that's actually what their buses look like, but it is. And the top deck in that front window right there, where that guy's taking a picture, that's one of my favorite views of the city. It's really one of the best ways to see London, driving around, especially the night bus. If you're coming home from a long night somewhere at an event or seeing a friend, and just cruising through London, with that view, it's just you, a sheet of glass, and your new home. It's really fantastic. The DLR, the Dockland light rail that shoots out East London toward the Docklands. But it's also there are a lot of cycle for hire, like the Santander bikes or the Barclay bikes, things like that. They're everywhere. So it really is, it's a nice city to cruise around on a bike, and the docks are everywhere. So it's very convenient. If they're all full, there's going to be another one close by for you to drop off your bike where you end up. You can obviously always get a black cab, classic, or an Uber. Uber's everywhere now. But one of my favorite ways to see London is to walk. You know, one of my favorite things about Europe and European cities is the walkability. They really are beautiful. You know, so many times if I was going somewhere and it was, 2 or even 3 stops on the tube in a completely different neighborhood, if I have the time, I would choose to walk because it's such a great way to see the different neighborhoods, see the city, and really take it in. It's safe, and actually in the middle circle is a little street map. These are all over the city, especially around Central, because it's not a grid like a lot of American cities. There are a lot older streets, a lot older cities, and so the original city was laid out for horse and carriage, and then they paved it and then they built around it as well. So it kind of winds all over the place, but that's part of the fun. Exploring, going down all these old streets, the cobblestones and some of them, and then you turn a corner and you see a whole new world. But it really is, I couldn't recommend it enough. That's my favorite way to see the city, is go for a walk, go get lost. But maybe you want to go outside of London. You know how to get around London now, but with affordable travel, EasyJet, Norwegian Air, Eurostar, as we talked about, the train from King's Cross, accessibility to the rest of Europe is really one of the biggest benefits of studying in London. I really can't stress it enough. this is why I refer to London as a gateway to the rest of the world. You know, you have London and the whole world is there. And so you have, it's a gateway in that sense, but it's also a gateway in that you're right there. You're a short flight, you're a short train ride away, and boom, you're in another culture, another city, another, you know, another cuisine, another language. And it really, you know, people travel around Europe the way that we travel state to state here. And it's, I can't stress it enough. It is one of the most important things about the student experiences going to one of these other places. So, you know, top left, Rome, top right, Amsterdam, bottom left is the Gaudi village in Barcelona. The bottom right is obviously Paris. You know, the two on the right, Amsterdam and Paris, as I said, you can get a train from straight from King's Cross, a couple hours, you're right there, ready for action. The two on the left, it's gonna take a flight. You could take trains there as well. But you know, when I say a quick flight, cheap flight, I mean about 100 euros, you can get your way to Rome. You can get to Barcelona. You can get to Madrid. You can get to you know, you can get to the south of France if you don't want to go to Paris. You know, the airlines have really become a lot more affordable because you're already there. That's the thing is, you know, if you're coming from America, if you want to go to Rome, you got to save up a lot of money. You're gonna have to, you know, it's at least like $1,200 for the flight. You don't want to just go there for 2 days and come back. So you're gonna want to do at least a week. Those are expensive hotels for a week or Airbnb. So it adds up. You got to put out a block of time. You got to save a chunk of money and a lot of resources. But if you're in London, you can go to these places for the weekend. You know, one of the best things about Richmond is that you'll have friends from all over the world. So I got to explore a lot of these places with friends from there. You know, one of my best friends in school is Lebanese and Dutch. He grew up in Amsterdam, and he said, "Hey, let's go to Amsterdam for the weekend. I'm introduce you to my family. You know, we'll go see friends." And I thought, can't just go to another country like that. That's crazy. And then I realized, oh, actually, you can. You can. You can go jump on a train, or you can jump on a, you know, 100-pound flight for 45 minutes. You know, you go up, they hand out water, they come back to the front, take your cups and say, okay, cool, get ready for landing. And just like that, you're in a whole nother culture. And that was my favorite part about studying in London, but also the combination of studying at Richmond, because because your classmates are from all over the world, you get to experience their cultures. I got to go to Istanbul with my Turkish friends. That would have never happened if I stayed in America. You know, that the casual trip to these other countries is really, it's just such an asset. And I highly recommend tapping into that while you're there. But let me just say, maybe you go to Rome, maybe you love Rome, maybe you fall in love with Rome and think, man, I could stay here longer. You know, this is a good place. I could see myself here for a few months. Well, the answer is that's good because you can, because we have study abroad partners all over the world. So you can study abroad from studying abroad. So you could do it if you're a 4-year degree student with us at Richmond, you can do up to 2 semesters with 1 or 2 of our partners. So maybe you want to go to Rome and you fall in love with it on a weekend trip, and you come back and you speak to your guidance counselor, your academic advisor, and say, hey, I want to do a semester in Rome. Well, it's good because we have a partner there. We have, as you can see, this list. You can see the full list on our website, by the way. This isn't even all of them. So you can really explore the options. You can go all over the place. And again, gateway to the world. This is really what sets us aside from a lot of other schools in London. And it's one of my favorite things. It's one of my fondest memories. I actually did it. So I actually did a semester, my second semester of my sophomore year, I did in Florence, Italy. It was fantastic. So I did some art history and I did Italian language and things like that. And then I came back and I finished up my degree in London. And thinking about it now, I should have done another semester at another place, but I had a lot going on. I was enjoying myself. But when you get there, make sure, if you can and if you want to, tap in, because the Richmond team really makes it a smooth transition with our partner universities. It's not some crazy thing that you have to navigate. We're going to help you do that. And we're going to make sure that it's seamless and you can go and you can enjoy it and you can just come straight back and it's not going to be an issue. Because our team is fantastic. And that brings me to our student affairs, our nationally recognized student affairs team. The support that you're going to get at Richmond is really, really notable. So let me just play this little introduction to our student affairs team.
Hi there everyone, and thank you very much for your interest in Richmond American University London. My name is Alex and I'm the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, and it's the Student Affairs team at Richmond who oversee student life, helping students to achieve their potential and also helping all students to make the most of their time with us in the global city of London. So from all of us here in the UK, we're really excited that you're looking to join us later this year. Across each term, the Student Affairs team organise a range of events and activities, whether that's in London, further afield, or sometimes even Europe. We also work with over 20 clubs and societies at Richmond, which are student-led groups formed around particular interests, whether that's academic, sporting, relating to a particular identity, and all of the student groups at Richmond organise opportunities for students to get to know one another, whether in the context of your own course or even meeting students from outside the course and broadening your network. We also work very closely with IQ Hayward House, our accommodation provider in West Hampstead, a 25-minute direct tube journey from our brand new Chiswick campus. At Hayward House, we work to ensure that students have access to comfortable and welcoming accommodation, and we have a team of residential advisors and residential directors, collectively ResLife, who are current students who live within the residences to help with any queries, as well as creating a comfortable and welcoming community at IQ Hayward House through events and activities each year. On campus, we have a range of support on offer, including peer tutors who can help with any academic queries, and peer mentors who you will meet in our orientation periods, who help students to settle into life in London, as well as delivering some of our liberal arts core curriculum. Outside of that, student leadership is a key focus for the Student Affairs team, and we have staff dedicated to employability, whether that's accessing internships, lower level stuff like going over your CV or cover letters, or even helping you to find volunteering opportunities as part of our service learning commitments, or to try new skills, meet new people, and learn your new strengths. And we also recognise that for times where there are bumps in your student journey, it may be appropriate to access some support. So we have a dedicated student health and wellbeing officer, my colleague Monica. She helps all students to navigate healthcare in the context of the UK, as well as things like Nightline, which is our confidential anonymous listening service available out of hours for any students who need it, or counselling and therapy with our team of third-party counsellors and therapists. So, as I say, from all of us here, we're really excited that you're looking to join us later this year. I invite you to get in touch with us at any time. Our team's mailbox is studentaffairs@richmond.ac.uk, and we'd love to hear from you if we can help at all in relation to room and board or understanding our support that's available on offer when you join us. You can also find out more by visiting richmond.ac.uk online, and we really do look forward to meeting you in just a few short months' time. So for now, from all of us, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
You really do get a high level of support at Richmond. Because we're a small school, you will know the staff, and the staff, more importantly, will know you. You're not going to be a face in a theater of 200 students that the professor doesn't know. your academic advisors, your guidance counselors, everybody's going to know you well. You really, you become family. You really do, in a way that is lovely. And it really makes the transition of studying in another country much easier, much safer, much happier, knowing that the support is there, because it is a big shift. It is a big change. Um, most students in America don't go out of state for college, let alone out of the country. So, it is worth noting that it's a big change, and that's exciting. And it can be exciting because you know you have the support that Richmond has. So you're in good hands. You're really in good hands. And I say that as someone who still stays in contact with my academic advisor, however many years later. I graduated in 2011, and I still stay. I just sent, pictures of my 2-year-old daughter to my guidance counselor from my time at Richmond. We really do stay in touch. And that just goes to show the type of connection that you're going to have with your fellow classmates and with the staff. So as I said before, you're in good hands. So I've told you about London, told you about the different neighborhoods, some of my favorite places, some of the students' favorite places, how to get around London, how to get out of London and go further. And I guess the only question left is, why not London? Gateway to the rest of the world really is how I see that city, and it's what it's done for me. And I know it can do the same for you. So if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. Let me just check the chat and see if anything's been going on over here. Nothing in the Q&A. If you have any questions that jump into your mind as soon as we hang up, feel free to shoot us an email. Again, US admissions. We're probably already speaking with most of you. I definitely recognize some of your names. As I said, you're probably either speaking with myself or with my colleague Victoria. We do have, thank you Victoria for throwing our US inbox in the chat. If you haven't already attended our other 2 webinars, thank you Victoria. Check out this list. We have another 2 coming up very soon. Again, the other 2 are about the visa process, because as a US national, you will need a UK student visa. That's a whole process in itself. But once you get a little further into the enrollment process, we're going to help you get through the UK student visa process, and we'll get you situated. And then once you get the visa, you're good for the 4 years that you're there. It can be a bit daunting because it is a bit of a process, and you're dealing with with the UK Customs and Border Agency. But we're going to walk you through every step of the way. Victoria has really painstakingly going through every little detail, and we're going to get you there. No worries at all. We're going to get you there every step of the way. And then also the financial webinar as well, about the finances involved with studying in London, scholarships, merit-based scholarships, FAFSA, federal aid, things like that, and how that applies to us and how we use that. Really important webinars, a lot of numbers. So either get yourself the recording or have something to take notes on. Affordability and financial aid next week, same day and time. So Thursday at 7 Eastern time is when we do our webinars. So definitely click on the link that Victoria was kind enough, thank you, Victoria, to post in the chat, and you can get registered for that. If you have any questions, again, just give us a shout. We're happy to jump on a call or Zoom. We're happy to also speak to parents. It's a big thing to let your child go to another country, but it's a fantastic opportunity, and we are both happy to share our experiences and really speak to you and your family and help you understand what that entails. So let me just check one more time if we have nothing in the Q&A. Beautiful. How are we doing on time? 7:58. Gorgeous. Bang on time. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you applying and considering joining us in London. You know, it's a great opportunity, and I can speak from the heart when I say you will not regret it. And yeah, so let's get you to London. Thank you for joining us tonight.